Question 2. Where did you and Gigi get married, and who was there at your wedding?
Her brother, Jim and I, we got married in Nampa, Idaho.
At Nampa, was it like at the courthouse or some
Yeah.
sort of
No, a minister's house.
minister's house?
Yeah.
Did you tell anyone in advance, or you just one day went over there?
Well, we had figured it out, and I was out of town, and we had made up our mind, and she and her brother and his wife and I went over and got married there. So, what was the next one?
What year was that? Do you know what year?
Yeah, in 38.
1938.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, wasn't it?
And did you just decide not to have a wedding, or you really couldn't
Yeah.
have afforded a wedding, or?
I think probably we couldn't afford a wedding.
Okay.
My wages were $75 a month,
Yeah, it's not.
and you know, you don't do much on $75
Oh,
a month.
no.
And it was never our intention that she would work, so it was a matter we had to get by on $75 a month,
Right.
and so that was.
Nice.
But then later I got raised to $100 a month.
Oh, there you go.
So what was this job? I know that this is the next question on the list. What did you do?
I was an instructor. I went to business school here in Boise, and after I got through taking my accounting classes, the owner of the school had another school in Twin Falls, and I went over to Twin Falls and worked for him as an instructor in accounting. And then about a year later, I came back and became an instructor in his school here in Boise. And then from there I went to internal revenue.
And did Gigi ever work?
What?
Did Gigi ever work?
She, yes and no. When we were in Las Vegas, I went to Las Vegas in about 1960 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. And we went to Las Vegas. Why, she worked as a hostess in a wedding chapel.
Oh, yeah.
And she was she did that for, I was there about a year and a half, and she did that. And that's the only job she ever had.
Okay.
But she enjoyed that, and they enjoyed having her.
I bet.
And after we came back to Boise, she took over as the chairman of the wedding committee for the Wright Community Church, and she did that for about 8 or 9 years. And of course, that was not a paying job. That was
Volunteer. Yeah, that's good church
so
volunteer.
the only paying job she had was a hostess for a wedding. Well, right after high school, she worked in, and before we were married, she worked for a little while in a dime store.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Dime store? What is a dime store?
Grandpa,
What's
what is a dime store?
Yeah.
They sold stuff for not over 25 cents.
Kind of like, the dollar store now.
Yeah.
That same kind of stuff would have been a dime back then.
But
so it used to be called
the
dime
dollar
store.
is different. The
It's a
dollar
little different,
store
yeah.
takes in distressed stuff.
Yeah.
This dime store, I don't know. I think the most you could pay for anything was a quarter, but it was it was manufactured to sell at a regular retail price of
Right.
25 cents or less. We call them dime stores. And there were lots of them. Newberry's and Woolworths, and there was a lot of those stores throughout the United States.
Yeah, they were just like lower price stores, not like not like an expensive department store. The nicer stuff would be in a department store, and the less expensive stuff would be in the dime store. Like paper goods or things like that.
These dime stores were they were big.
Oh yeah.
They might have. Each dime store might have 20 or 30 employees.
Oh, okay.
So, Dean, I stole that one question. Why don't you move on to the next one?
Okay. But I have to do all the rest questions.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Okay then.
All right.
So, what is like being a G-man in Las Vegas? What's it about? What did you usually do? And were there any like special events or cases?
I was down there not as not as a supervisor of the investigation. I was just there, and one of the things that I did various things, but probably I spent more time than anything else. I sat at the gambling table, and I watched how much money went into the I sat there and gambled with there around the table. Everybody be gambling, and I would watch and count the money that was being spent, and then the people came around with carts and picked up the money, and then they counted the money out, and then the supervisors would compare the amount of money that I counted with the amount of money that they reported for tax purposes. And they were always short. So they used that as for tax evasion purposes, they usually ran the people down by virtue of how much money they spent. And that way they would know how much money they made. They kept track of the amount of money they spent and the amount of money they made. Well, okay, the government would make that computation, the regular agents would make that computation. And then they would tax them on the basis of their computations. It was my job to prove that increase in net worth that they had and the net worth and the expenditures came from a source that was a taxable source in order to prove that they knew that they were doing this shenanigans.
So you got.
So I wasn't the head honcho.
Sure.
I was just, when I did that, they did have me doing some other smaller jobs in which I was the head honcho, but that was the main reason they sent me down there. But they had me doing some smaller jobs too. But the reason they sent me down there was they sent a bunch of us down there from all over the United States.
Now, did Gigi ever help you with your activities?
No, not really.
Okay.
No. Oh, I suppose she did. You know, in some ways, I'm sure that.
I mean, if you have to be undercover gambling,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
she could be standing.
Oh,
with
yes.
you.
Of course, nobody knew who. They brought us in from the outside, so that they wouldn't know who we were. You know.
Right. All right, buddy, you ready?
I was born ready.
All right.
So, well, I already kind of asked were there any special cases. Were there any like special cases not in Las Vegas that you had to do?
Yeah. Well, there were. There were some doctors in Lewiston and up in Coeur d'Alene and around that I checked on, and I had, you know, to check out for what they were reporting against what they were paying on.
So it was pretty much all tax evasion cases, right?
Yeah, and sometimes another thing I did too, I did personnel investigations.
Ah.
If they had some collector was alleged to be doing something he shouldn't be doing, why I would do that, and I would whenever there would be a hire new employees, I would do background checks on those, all that stuff. Then occasionally, when the Secret Service wanted somebody to watch a gate because some celebrity was coming to town, why I'd get involved in that. But that was rather infrequent, but that did happen on occasions.
All right, Dean.
All right. You have done you have done some investing in real estate. How did that begin?
I suppose the very first one was this farm, and then I recall one time there was a tax sale on some property down on Anderson Street, and it went for, I think, $5,000. And it was kind of an interesting thing. The fellow had been in jail, but I bought at the tax sale. I bought this property, I think, for under $5,000. And when he got out of jail, he also owned another piece of property that was right next to the property that I had purchased at the tax sale. And he came to me and he said, I want to buy a gift for my girlfriend, and I wonder if you'd loan me $500 on my car so I can buy a gift for my girlfriend. I said, no, but I'll do this. I'll give you $500 and I'll take an option to buy your other house for $5,000. So when the time came, why he couldn't exercise, he couldn't pay me off or didn't want to or something, so I paid him off for $5,000. I was using the money, of course, that I got from the farm to do
Okay.
these things. And then I fixed that up, and I sold those two for about 45,000.
Wow.
And so then I got together with Agnes's brother, and we bought a mobile home park over in Ontario, Oregon. Jim ran it, and we operated that for a while until he got tired of it, and we sold it. And I had a pretty good profit. And in the meantime, I was accumulating some cash, and so not big cash, but I mean it was big for me, and yeah, and I've run into some people that needed money, and I'd loan them to money at high prices, high interest rates, and some of them I had to later foreclose on, and that's just a rollover thing like that.
Mhm.
What I did for about 40 years until I decided I'd try to get out of it here about
I think you're
10
still
years.
trying to get